Welcome to the Bit by Bit Coding Club. Here's an introduction for Project 1 Web Dev and Design. So, what can we use a website for? Let's brainstorm some website ideas. For example, a class I took this summer, we created a resume website and a portfolio site. But other things you could make a website for is a lemonade stand, a babysitting business, or just a site about your favorite breeds of dogs and give information about a Brittany is a pointer, a golden is a retriever, etc., etc. So, getting started. So, all of the work that this project was made to be used in code.org, but you most likely can be using other things, but that is what I will be explaining from. So if you'd like to follow along on code.org, or if you're more comfortable in something like VS Code, you can go ahead and use that. But signing up for code.org, you can use a school email, your password, student name, display name, age. For what we're using, which is the Web Lab, you need to be set as 14 or older. And then new project, view all projects, scroll down and use Web Lab. So any text seen in these slideshows in red can be replaced with information of your choosing. So, website basics. The leftmost side of code.org is where you'll find the file manager. The left half is where you'll actually be typing in your code, and the right half is where you see the website updating in real time. Here's some vocab you'll need to know for the following few slides. So a tag is anything contained within angle brackets, which are right there. It's the less than, greater than, and it's also the name of an element. The opening tag signifies the start of an element, and the closing tag signifies the end of an element. The difference between an opening and closing tag is that a closing tag has a slash after the first angle bracket. Not all elements have a closing tag. Some only need an opening tag. So a nested element is an element tag that is contained between the opening and closing tags of another element. Example right there is a title tag nested within the head tag. And so some elements that you'll need to familiarize yourself with is the head element. Contains metadata about the document. This includes its title and links to JavaScript files or CSS files. The link tag, which links external spreadsheets, style sheets to your HTML files. They're usually nested within the head tags. Title is what you'd see on the tab, and that's also nested within head. Header signifies the content of the top of the page and usually contains navigation and logos. Usually something you nest within a header would be maybe an H1 tag, which we'll get into later, or like nav tags, which will be later in the course. The body tag signifies the main content of the page. The footer tag signifies the content at the bottom of the page, and it usually contains things like copyright information and social media links. Those would be nested within the footer. And the H1 tag indicates the primary topic of your website to visitors. It's called the heading 1 tag. That's what H stands for. And so the heading tags go from 1 to 6, with 1 being the biggest and boldest, and 6 being the smallest and most normal weight-wise. So setting up our page. Make a new line under the link tag and type the following: title of site, or whatever you could write like my favorite puppies or my lemonade stand, and then a closing title tag. And then after the closing head tag, type the following: opening header tag, closing header tag. So you'll want to put your cursor in between those two tags, hit enter, and type the following: opening H1, title of your site, closing H1. You should see your changes automatically showing on the right-hand side. And the only thing you'd see with code.org is the title, not the title, the heading. If you're using something like VS Code and you're running the code and you see the web page open, you would be able to see the tab, but which would show the title. But code.org doesn't show tabs, so you'd only see your heading because that's what appears on the page itself. So adding content. Some more elements we need to keep in mind is the paragraph element, which styles the text like a body text would in Google Docs. The image tag, which allows you to add in an image. You use attributes like source, which is called SRC, and it's the file path and file name of your image go within the quotations, and alt text goes within the alt attribute, which is an alt text is a description of what your image looks like. It goes within the all attribute to increase the accessibility of your website. In between the opening and closing body tags, go ahead and write the following paragraph. You can put a paragraph about you. You can pause this video and take some time to write a paragraph, or you can just put some filler text there for now. So go ahead and make a new line after the closing paragraph tag and make an image tag. So right now you can just write image.png in the source because we're going to go ahead and find an image first. And then alt tab, alt text. And so note that images don't need a closing tag. It's just everything is within the opening tag. And if you don't see your image when you run the code, that's okay, because we haven't technically inserted an image yet, which is what we'll go ahead and do right now. So to use an image, it has to be in the same folder as your code. Firstly, find an image that you'd like to use for this project. It can be an image you've taken yourself, or you can use a free-to-use image. I recommend using Pexels.com, as this is a site that houses images and videos that are completely free for commercial use. Once you've found an image you like, hit free download, then go back to code.org or wherever you're working. And for code.org, it'll be on the left-hand side above File Manager and hit Add Image, Upload File. So then you'll go back to your code and rename the source to match the name of your image. And as you go to type in the name of your image, it should autofill the name. Most text editors use that. So if you're using something like VS Code, you're just going to want to put that image in the same directory or folder as your index.html and style CSS things would be. So you keep all your files together. Now you should be able to see your image. Is your image really big? Like you can't even see, like code.org, it shows the second half of your screen. Most likely your image is taking up so much space that you're only seeing like the top left-hand corner of your image. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and resize that image now. So in the file manager, click on the file called style.css. This is the file we linked earlier with the link tag. Make some new lines and then type the following. This will make the image smaller. So in the example above, I have a set height, 300 pixels, and then I allow the width to size itself based on the height using the auto. This is a good practice because it makes it easier to keep the image's proportions the same as they were before we went ahead and changed the height. This also could have been done with the height as auto and the width as a set value. So adding some more content. So we've got elements like the unordered list, which is a bulleted list, the ordered list, which is a numbered list, and list elements, which is just li. So now that our images are completely visible, let's add some more content to the site. In the file manager, navigate to index.html, make a new line under the image tag, and type the following. So we can have a heading 3, which is kind of in the middle of a big heading and a small heading. Fun facts, unordered list. I like to read, I'm a varsity swimmer, and I have 2 dogs. And the unordered list. And then after that one, we can go ahead and create a new line and write our ordered list, which is going to be our numbered list. So steps for coding, ordered list. Make an HTML file, get the basic code down, add in your content, and style it with CSS, close the ordered list. And you should see that showing up on the right-hand side of your screen. So we're just going to get into a little bit of CSS today. We'll learn more about that later in the course. This is, of course, is just an introduction to the project. CSS, or cascading style sheets, is used to style the content of web pages. So some examples of something you could do is changing background color. So if you use body and then you do background pink, this will make the entire site have a background color of pink. If you use header background white, it will only change the background color of every element nested within the header tag. So if you have like a logo and a nav, everything behind those elements will be white, as that's the background color you chose to go behind those as the background. So fonts, if you do paragraph color white, this will make every paragraph tag on your site have white text. And if you were to do H1 font family cursive, this will change the font style to cursive for every instance of an H1 tag in the site. And then more. CSS includes lots of ways to style your text, like text align, font weight, font size, etc. In this self-paced exercise, you will experiment with other CSS properties. So go ahead and play around with the CSS properties. Go ahead and, just type in different ones, mess around with it, and leave a comment saying what you figured out. Hope to see you next time at the Bit by Bit Coding Club for our next lesson. Thank you so much for joining, and don't forget to subscribe.